jolly good.
Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clank Zoka. Welcome to another My Thoughts On, and today I'm going to be talking about The Gentleman. And no, it's not my intro at all. If that was a film, I'd be kind of freaked out. No, The Gentleman is actually the latest Guy Ritchie film. If you want to know what I thought of these other films, well, I've only seen 3. Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, and Aladdin remake. I really enjoyed the 2 former films. I think they're both very British. They've got great action, great actors, it's well written, it's well timed. It's an incredibly classic British action film. Snatch is not as good as Lock, Stock, but still pretty great. And Brad Pitt can pretty much do a good gypsy Irish accent. I know a few people that I know have watched them because they've got like Londoners. They all talk like this in it. Oh, fuck off and all that. It's like it's not exactly high class or anything, but it's. I think Ritchie's films are. They have that amount of like that British sense of atmosphere and personality to them that they work. I have not seen The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Looks good though. That King Arthur film, which also has Charlie Hunnam in it, looks shit. The Aladdin remake I didn't like at all, although it doesn't feel like a Guy Ritchie film. It feels more like a whoever directs the other Disney remakes. So yeah. Oh, he also did in Sherlock and its sequel, Sherlock Holmes, Game of Shadows, as well. So yeah. So yeah, I like him. I think he's a good director and all, but I've only seen like what? I've only seen like 3, now 4 films, obviously. So what is The Gentleman about? Well, it's about this American business owner played by Matthew McConaughey named Mickey or Michael Pearson. He has this business selling drugs, and he's always assisted by his right hand man named Ray, who's played by Charlie Hunnam. And now this spy, I suppose, named Fletcher, played by a very unrecognisable Hugh Grant in a way, just by his voice, has come to tell Ray about. It's actually a little complicated, but it's all about how some of these other gangsters want Matthew McConaughey's business, I guess. And he's telling it to Ray, so Ray gets the idea, and he needs the money. So it's basically just another Guy Ritchie film. But it still keeps the clever shots, the great storytelling, and the great British sense of personality. There were times in the film where it did feel a little too familiar to Lock, Stock or Snatch. You got these chavs in these like joggy bottoms and hoodies, and they're part of this one gang who is named. There's one side with Pearson and Ray. There's one side with this coach character played by Colin Firth. And then you've got Dry Eye, played by Henry Golding, second film this week after Last Christmas. So one clearly has nothing to do and doesn't want to do anything, or be involved, I suppose, with Pearson's business, and the other one wants to go for it, you know? So the storytelling and the execution is still there, and it still feels very much like Guy Ritchie, unlike the last film he directed. And knowing that this film is, in fact, rated 18, they do swear a lot. Big shock. But actually, they use the CUNT word quite hard. And obviously knowing that it's a British slash kind of American film, well, the British swearing feels very genuine. The American swearing is, how do I put it? It's a bit off, really. Because Matthew McConaughey does not swear like an American. He calls these other people chaps instead of like fellas, you know. And when he swears, it sounds like just normal swearing. It's a bit weird, really, I suppose. There are a few chase and action scenes, and while there isn't that many, it is quite suspenseful and unexpected at times, which is to be expected from Guy Ritchie, I suppose. I did laugh a few times as well. It was very cheeky and very well thought out in terms of its humour, which is to be expected, of course. Visually, I think it's probably the best looking Guy Ritchie film there is, and it's well shot. It really does capture the lower class parts of London. Although Last Christmas was nice looking, this was like just accurate looking. It is nice to look at, I will give it that, but it's not exactly an amazing looking film, to be fair. Again, better than these other films, but the other films actually have a sense of um, of like really old, like early 80s or late 80s style Britain. I think Lock, Stock was like mid 80s, and then Snatch was like early 2000s. So clearly he likes to make his films look like very dry and very ugly looking Britain, which is great. The characters are all very memorable. My favourites have to be Fletcher, played by Hugh Grant, Ray, played by Charlie Hunnam. I think they're both very, very funny. I think they've both got great chemistry together. One is basically just the snarky character who steals the show, who likes to make jokes. The other one is just kind of the straight man, hitman, who you don't want to fuck with. Then you got the business owner, which is Matthew McConaughey's character, Pearson. He's also a great crime boss as well, and I technically wouldn't say there's a villain here. Although Fletcher does refer to the protagonist, which is Pearson, and Dry Eye as the antagonist. However, there's technically no actual villain. You could argue that they're all kind of just individual criminals in a way, but there is really no character here that's doing justice for good. One is trying to keep his business intact, and the other is trying to steal it. So it's a bit different, I suppose. Other characters, like there is Coach, Colin Farrell, and then you've got Dry Eye, who are great supporting characters, and they do play a role sometimes. You've got Eddie Marsan, who's Big Dave, who plays a key role, and kind of the reason why Fletcher went to see Ray. And then who else? Oh, and Matthew, played by Jeremy Strong, who's also in it as well. The characters have very mixed results. Some stand out as strong, and then others are just kind of exactly what the roles are supposed to be, like the big crime boss or the one that's looking into business and all that. However, the acting is really what makes these characters lots of fun to watch. Matthew McConaughey's just brilliant as always. Charlie Hunnam, although I've only seen him in Pacific Rim, and although I don't like that film, I remember he was pretty good in that, and he's great here. Colin Farrell is just amazing as always. Henry Golding, that actor just impresses the hell out of me. First, Crazy Rich Asians, Simple Favor, Last Christmas, and now this. He's clearly got talent. I think he's really good here. Not as good as A Simple Favor, but slightly better than Last Christmas, I'll be very, very honest. Hugh Grant, although not his best performance, I have to admit, I actually didn't recognise his voice. I know it's supposed to be very like typical Cockney accent talk, but it's like, oh my god, just hearing all that coming out of Hugh Grant is a bit strange, but I love it. Eddie Marsan's great. I'm trying to think who else was in it. I think that's it. whoever was in the film, they all did a great job. Really, I think they're all brilliant. So yeah, well, so yeah, oh, the score is pretty good as well. Actually, I don't know who did the score. It sounded very familiar. Let me have a look. Oh, it's by Christopher Benstead. What else has he done besides this film? Oh, of course, he's part of Aladdin. Duh. He didn't compose that film or anything, but oh, that was his only. That's the only film that he's composed. Interesting. Very interesting. So yeah, I really enjoyed The Gentleman. Is it the best Guy Ritchie film? No, I still think Lock, Stock's better, but I guess it's a little better than Snatch. I don't remember what ratings I gave those two films, but I know one was like a 9 and the other was maybe an 8. I think. Let me just look at the score so I know. Okay, yeah, Snatch was an 8. I think Lock, Stock was a 9, maybe an 8 as well. Yep, that's a 9. So I say that this film, while not as good as Lock, Stock, it's a little better than Snatch. The Gentleman is just another classy, action-packed and very thought-provoking Guy Ritchie film, with some solid acting, some very entertaining characters, a very nicely shot film, and a well-composed and pretty nice score. And very well executed story that's clever and has all the typical Guy Ritchie traits that really work. Not perfect in a way, there were a few times that I didn't quite follow the film, and there's technically no villain when you think about it, and some characters can get a little bit cliched and sometimes annoying. So yeah, I really like the film. I think it's pretty great. Not my favourite film of the year. Compared to Jojo Rabbit, because this film came out when Jojo Rabbit came out. I saw that film instead because I was more interested in that than this. But yeah, I really enjoyed this film, but Jojo Rabbit's better. So 8, 8.5 out of 10, I think. I don't remember what I gave Lock, Stock. I mean, Snatch. So if The Gentleman is 8 point, does it 8.5? Yeah. Snatch would be an 8. So yeah, really liked it. It's a good film, very good film, but just nothing amazing. So yeah, The Gentleman. So I had to catch up on a few 2020 films and one 2019 film. I've got a few more to talk about, like I'm trying to think. There's Emma. There's The Secret Garden. There's one called Over the Moon that's on Netflix. There's an animated film called Away. I have got a few to catch up on, and there's a documentary called Feels Good Man, and I don't usually do documentaries, but I will do that one at some point. Oh, and yeah, don't worry, I will do the Cartoon Saloon films when Wolfwalkers comes to Apple TV, and I will do a couple of Pixar films for the release of Soul. So look out for them. And what did you think of The Gentleman? Did you think it was good, bad, decent? Do you want to see it? Let me know below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. Until next time, fuck off.